Hello and welcome to part 16 of the ongoing AS and A-Level Python series, and in this episode we are going to be looking at lambdas. So lambdas are basically anonymous functions, and by that we mean that they are in a function that comes in the form of an expression, and the way that you can create it is to make use of the lambda keyword in Python. So the whole idea of using lambdas really is to have functions that have short callbacks, as it were. So sometimes you might don't want to define an entire function just to do something that's quite simple, like maybe say adding two numbers, or actually maybe sorting a list and so forth and so on. So maybe you might just want to have a quick solution to it, and the way you can go about that is to actually create a lambda or an anonymous function, as it were. So in order to actually get a full appreciation of what I'm talking about, let's actually define a function that's called sum, and then this particular value is actually going to take two numbers, num1 and num2. Then what it simply does is that it's actually just going to find the sum of these two numbers. So we simply wanted to return num1 and num1 plus num2. Then let's just go down a couple lines and then call this function. So we want to call sum with a value of 10 and a value of 90, just like that. And let's actually compile and run this. Alright, so the value has been returned, but what I forgot to do was to print this. So we can use a variable, or we can just print it directly like so. Right, so just run that and you see that we get 100 down there, as you'd expect, because 10 plus 90, that's 100. So you might notice that we actually had to go through a function definition, all that stuff, just to create a function that actually just adds two numbers. So you can save yourself a whole lot of trouble by making use of a lambda. So in order to actually use a lambda, you just need to have two variables, is it? So you're going to have one variable that's actually going to store the lambda expression, then another variable that's actually going to store the value that is going to be returned by the lambda expression, as it were. So let's actually create maybe a variable called product. Then inside of product, we actually need to create the lambda expression, as it were. Right, so we make use of the keyword lambda, and we need to have two values. So we have value A and we also have value B. Right, so that's how this is the syntax for declaring a lambda. Right, so basically these are going to be the arguments, as it were, and they would be equivalent to the arguments that you would put inside of a function header, like on line 3 there. So A and B in this case, they will be equivalent to what, to num1 and num2. And then after putting your arguments, you then put a colon. Then after the colon, you put the expression that you want to evaluate, as it were. So in this instance, since we call it product, we simply want to find the product of A times B, right? So by itself, this product method simply defines the lambda expression, is it? So we actually need another variable called result, and inside of result we need to call product, and we are going to pass 9 and 9 as the arguments, is it? So let me just oh, I forgot to print again. So let me just print here. I need to print result, right? Then when I then run this code, I should get 100, which is a result from line 6 that is calling the sum method, and we also get this particular value of 81, which is basically the result of what, of multiplying 9 by 9. So of course, I know for an example this simple, it might seem like there's no point to lambda expressions, because for this one we actually have 3 lines, and for this one we also have 3 lines. But maybe in the upcoming tutorials, when you actually start to do object-oriented programming, I'm going to be throwing in examples that make use of lambda expressions, and that's when you actually come to appreciate that they are quite useful, because they provide for us a way to have short callbacks. Instead of having to define a function, you can actually do something in just one line, is it? Then you can then take that value and actually use it for something else later on down in the code. So yeah, I think that's just about it for lambda expressions, or rather anonymous functions. I'll see you in the next tutorial.